streaming tech is ready. The mic and studio are set. Is the audience here yet? They better be. It's a show they will never forget. Hearts are racing. This is the moment, the one we've been waiting to find. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together, and the replays just go on forever. Is your personal brand fading? The choice is online events, social. All right, let's wrap up with the intro music and welcome everyone to the show. This is the storytelling journey. I am super excited, as I am every week when we come on the air. These are wonderful conversations, great opportunities for myself and my co-host Jay to share the stage and spotlight someone along with us to share their story, share their narrative, and bring value to our community through live events. I am super excited to welcome Madison McCann. And Jay, welcome back. I love the fact that you keep coming back. So that just tells me that things are working. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Today was a busy day at the Nature Center. We had 100 kids to talk story.
That is
Crazy.
awesome.
Yeah.
I tell you, you and I have spoken about it. We've spotlighted the Nature Center, and I love hearing your stories, and love how we're bringing people off the couches and off their electronic devices and reuniting them with nature, and that's always a beautiful thing. Want to take a moment before we introduce and bring our guest on stage. Welcome everyone who's participating in the audience. We want to make this as interactive as we possibly can. So if you have questions, drop them in the comments. We'd love to highlight your questions, and better yet, we'd love to make you part of the conversation. So drop your comments, and we'll look forward to making this a interactive and immersive experience. So once again, welcome to the storytelling journey. My name is Americo, and we're going to dive into a question that is stirring up content across the world. Can AI replace the human voice, or does authenticity still reign supreme? Joining me today is Madison McCann, the owner of Speakeasy Productions. And Madison and I kind of stumbled on each other. She shared a poll, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit about that. But fascinating question, asking her community about the consumption of AI-generated podcasts. That sparked some interest and piqued my curiosity. I put out a similar poll, and the two of us got resoundingly close results. I went digging because I wanted to make sure this wasn't just about my community's thoughts and my community's impressions, but there are case studies out there that were put together by some really reputable organizations. And the research shows in one particular study, 90% of US adults believe that it is important to know that their media was created by a human. And of those respondents, 75% don't want AI involved in their entertainment. All right, so I'm going to pause here, grab a drink, and welcome Madison to the stage. Madison, how you doing?
Hi, I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here. As a podcast producer, I'm usually not on the mic, so hope I do your show justice.
Well, listen, this is live, and the great thing about live is that people get to hear our authentic voices. There's no editing during the live. You're going to hear this raw conversation. So don't worry about whether if it's good, indifferent, and people will have opinions. Listen, people will always have an opinion of something, but there's so much value in live content. In fact, I shifted my strategy and my entire content strategy is centered around virtual events, but more so the live events. Okay, why don't we kick off with you sharing with us a little bit about yourself? This is the storytelling journey. I'd love to hear your narrative, and we have some questions that are centered around today's conversation between AI and human content. But we also want to know who Madison is. So why don't we start off with
Sure.
a question that is geared for you. So what inspired you to get started?
Okay, I feel like this is a loaded question because I kind of passively started my business about 3 years ago on accident. I was working for an organization that wanted to start a podcast, and we did that. We did about 24 episodes. And at that point, we decided, okay, we fulfilled what we wanted to do with the podcast. Let's, pause, maybe come back to it one day. And at that point, I got connected to someone who wanted to start their own podcast, and we started working together. Like, he was my first client. And before I knew it, I had 3 or 4 more clients. And I realized, oh, I guess this is a business now. It really just started like I was helping someone. So after about 2 years of doing that, I decided to leave that full-time job and go all in on Speakeasy Productions. And I've been doing that a little over a year now.
Well, Jay, does this resonate with you? Because I could tell you this happened to me by accident as well. And many people have heard the expressions that I've made around me being a keyboard warrior. And this too happened by accident. I thought it was time for a pivot because what I was writing, although I was very passionate about, it wasn't resonating. And I stepped up to the mic and I stepped up to the camera and I started to engage. And all of a sudden, people are reaching out, like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And what became part of my content strategy has evolved into a business as well. Did the same thing happen to you with storytelling? Did you find yourself, Jay, telling stories and people say, "Oh my goodness, people want my advice on how to improve my storytelling techniques"?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole reason I got into LinkedIn. And, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. NEO Song was really the impetus for me getting into live events at all. In the beginning, I got this invitation. I was like, what's this? LinkedIn's got live events. And back then it was just audio rooms. I was like, okay, what's this all about? Is it a podcast? What is this? And they started talking about trauma, right? And how there are different ways to deal with that. And anyway, long story short, I started talking about my survival and the aftermath of a tornado that tore apart my home. And I say this all the time. For a minute, I was the tornado guy. But the stories, right? These are the things I've always been. I was a Radiohead at one point. I was in legacy media, what they're calling legacy media these days, right? The old school media, radio, print, and TV. Now, social media and the internet has just changed that. But that's what I got started in as a cub reporter way back when. So it was always in my genes. And then this happened, this phenomenon, right? Podcasts, live events, things like that. And then I joined a collective. And in joining this collective, they had a StreamYard event every day. Well, not every day, but Tuesday through Friday. And you know what? I took my legacy media experience and I said, hey, let me do the background. Hey, let me do an intro, let me do a music behind that intro. And before you know it, I'm producing. I was like, let me help this make it look better, make it sound better. And yeah, so that's what happened. It's funny. Every time I join the show again to speak about something's always happening in my life that aligns with it. Right. So recently, a good friend of mine, Misha, the Bane, she was like, hey, would you like to, join me and do, just be a part of the studio and stuff? I said, well, maybe I can help you a little bit behind the scenes. And you know what? I'm going to blame you, Americo.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. She was like, I need some things done. And I immediately I thought of, you know what, why don't I do a song intro for her? Suno. And before you know it, she's calling me up crying. And I don't like to say this a lot, toot my own horn or whatever, but she called me up crying and I was like, is everything okay? What's wrong? And she said, I need to speak to your wife. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? She said, you're on punishment. I said, why? She said, there's not that many people who can make me cry. And you creating this song for me brought me to tears. And so I think that there's definitely some alignment going on and things happening for a reason. And so anyway, I don't want to go on and on about me, but that's what's been happening.
Yeah, it's amazing what we're doing with content in terms of repurposing. And Keith Keller, who's also in the audience, also leans into creating song from the shows that he hosts. And we'll dive into this because there are positives. There are ways to leverage AI, and Suno's a great one of those resources. But let's set this up. Madison, you and I started on this poll. We met each other over a poll. You were a complete stranger, and it sparked my curiosity by asking the question on whether or not AI generated podcasts had a place. Now, I wrote an article earlier or later last week, depending on how. Yeah, it was late last week, to set the stage around today's conversation. And I took a paragraph from that article that is published and posted on Substack as well as LinkedIn. And that one paragraph I uploaded to Notebook LM. And look, I'm not going to play all 12 minutes of it, but I'll play a snippet just to set the stage for what anyone listening may not understand what we're going to talk about today. Now here's a sample.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we've got a really powerful stack of market polls and industry studies that you've all shared with us.
Yeah, from groups like Madison, Americo, iHeartMedia. Some really interesting stuff in there.
Exactly. And our mission is to pull out the critical lessons from all of it, specifically about the future of audio content. We're really zeroing in on this major tension that's happening right now. You have the rise of AI-generated podcasts, live streams.
All that synthetic content.
Right. And on the other hand, you have this persistent demand for authentic, human-driven experiences.
Yeah.
So the big question is, are audiences actually embracing these synthetic hosts? Or
are audiences actually embracing these synthetic hosts? Over to you, Madison.
Oh my gosh. So I feel like it's pretty important for me to give context on why I even ran this poll on LinkedIn. And so I have a new client. Whenever I get a new client, we do a launch and I create a blueprint for them for the podcast. And part of that includes developing the full concept, sometimes even the name of the podcast. So I was doing some research on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, what names that I'm considering for this client's podcast are available or are they taken. And as I was looking up, different keywords, I noticed a lot of these AI looking podcast logos, and I was candidly just like really confused by this. Like, is someone just using, generative AI to do their logo, or is this like actually AI? So I listened to a couple of them, and they're terrible. Like it's so bad. It's not. I think they're trying to be educational, but no one's actually verifying if the content is true. So it really got me thinking, like, who is listening to this stuff? Because someone must be listening to this in order for them to keep putting it out there, surely. I mean, I know it probably doesn't cost them that much to do it, but why are they doing this? So that was really the reason for the poll. I wanted to see if anyone that I'm connected with on LinkedIn, and I have a what I would consider a sizable audience, and there was one person that responded and said that they have listened to an AI hosted podcast, but 95% of people said, I have never and would never. There was not a single person that says that they listened to an AI podcast.
Wow. Yeah. So the numbers are astounding. I came up with similar outcomes in terms of my community having close to zero appetite for AI generated podcasts and events. Now, here's the silver lining. Here's where I see it playing a role. Because when it comes to content, and we're going to keep this in realm of storytelling, and I'm really interested in hearing what Jay has to say here. But when you attend, or when I attend, because I'm notorious for jumping on other people's live streams and engaging and participating. One of our guests in the audience, who I've mentioned, Keith Keller, he hosts shows that go on for hours, 3, sometimes even 4 hours. Now we know, it's no surprise when we see our analytics. People aren't listening to 4 hours of content, but they are asking, if you summarized your show into a 10 or 15 minute clip, I'd listen to that. Now, does AI have a place where you take the transcript, 4-hour conversation, and compress it into a 15-minute podcast? Would people listen to AI generated content that summarizes what we're saying? They do it when we put it in writing. I'm going to write a blog summarizing today's conversation, and people will read that. Question is, when creators say or suggest meet your audience, meet your community where they're at, people consume content in different formats. So it's safe to say that today, the majority of respondents said, I have zero appetite or close to zero with this AI generated podcast. I don't think it'll ever grow on me personally. But let's hear what Jay has to say. Jay, from a storytelling perspective, not everyone wants to sit around and listen to me, flap my gums for an hour. But they might have an appetite for a AI-generated summary. How is this impacting, influencing, or what is it doing to the social fabric of storytelling?
So let me not mince words. Okay. when it comes to podcasts, man, AI in that space, that realm, when AI bots or agents are doing the show, performing, and I'm using air quotes here, performing the show, yeah, you suck, dude. Don't do it. I'm just saying, but I don't see anything wrong with using it as a tool. I've said it over and over again. You can take snippets. You can use clips, right? you can reformat it to have maybe an AI agent say it in, 30 minutes or less. 10 minutes, I think, is pushing it. But anything further than that, I think is disingenuous. Seriously, like it's fraud to me. But what do I know? I'm an old radio head, right? So I come from, like the days of listening to, Walter Cronkite. Anyway, I'm not
You're
that old.
dating yourself, my friend.
Yeah, no, I'm not that old. I'm just saying, I'm just saying that you have to be the person to be on the other side of this mic. You can't let it be coming from straight from your computer. It just, I don't, to me, that's not storytelling, right? If it's coming straight from the GPT or AI, that's, again, it's disingenuous. So that's right off the bat. That's what I want to say. But to use it as a tool to help promote your actual podcast where you're actually speaking, go for it. Do that. Because that'll only help your reach, right? You can't be all things to everybody all the time. So you've got to use your time wisely, efficiently. And AI is going to help do that. There's so many ways and so many things that you can do to help you get there. Scalability. Just the fact that we used Suno, you and I used Suno to help produce a show, we save time and money to be able to do that, right? So I see there's applications and things that we can do to definitely help our show and make it sound better, feel better, right? More something that's more accessible to people. Absolutely. Let's do that. But to
So
have an entire show,
yeah, it's not for everyone. That's for sure. And we got questions backing up here in the queue, but I left Spencer's comment up. So Spencer is suggesting that maybe in 10 years, podcasts will be all AI presenters with humans interacting in the comments. Do you think that day is coming, Madison?
I think some people will be doing it in 10 weeks.
Yeah, so AI is moving rapidly. We're talking about this today, and today 90% of the people responding may not appreciate it, but you're right. Tomorrow, that could change. Personally, I believe and stand behind human voice having a conversation in real time far outweighs anything in terms of building trust and in building visibility. Then there's the whole evergreen content that comes from these live conversations, newsletters, blogs, short form content, long form content, you name it. There's a place for it. But when it all stems from a authentic, real conversation, it just makes content creation so much easier. So thanks for asking that, Spencer. We have a few people who have joined who I want to take a moment to welcome. Leslie Flowers, thanks for joining. Leslie has wonderful shows of her own. Mike, thanks for joining. For those who don't know one another, I highly encourage that you reach out, connect, follow one another. We have some great creators here in the comments, and thank you everyone for joining. I have a question here. Well, a comment then followed up with a question. Keith is suggesting audio highlights versus transcripts. So we lean into the transcripts and use them for written content. Is it not the same doing an audio highlight? We're still using AI as a tool. What are your thoughts, folks? Madison, we'll start with you.
gosh, I'm trying to think of how I want to say this, but
It's okay. It's not a PG show. Feel free to say what you feel.
yeah, I mean, I just think that that maybe we could focus on like how someone could use AI to speed up their processes in a way that actually engages an audience, because I think whenever you have AI showing up for you, you lose that connection to your audience. But as far as using something like, I've seen some of the comments we've gotten about Notebook LM, and um, there's other apps, Perplexity. I'm not aware of that, but 11 Labs, things like that. I think AI can be useful if you use it on like the back end, like internally for, writing out things, and then you show up, like record yourself speaking. You gave that example of distilling a 3-hour show into, a 10-minute recap. Maybe you could use Chat GPT or Claude or whatever to summarize the content, and then you, as the human, knowing the nuance of the conversation, can shorten it or paraphrase it into that 10-minute episode. So I'm just having a hard time imagining, based on my own experiences and the results in that poll that I did, that anyone would be willing to listen or watch or engage in any way whenever the host is not engaging themselves.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, I'm not going to disagree with you. In fact, I support what you're saying. But why do you think that audiences and communities are so resistant to AI-generated podcasts? I was surprised to see it. I actually thought it was going to be either a closely balanced poll, an outcome, because everyone's embracing AI everywhere else. And then somewhat surprised, yet pleased that there's such a huge resistance, which tells me that what I'm doing and the value that I'm bringing to my community is, in fact, the right thing to do. Keep it live, keep it authentic, keep it raw, and keep it real.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if, like this live stream, if I sent an AI bot to act on my behalf, you'd be like, no, Madison, we're gonna kick you out of this. It's like I didn't even bother to show up. Why should my opinion matter?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Jay, I'm going to ask one question, then I'll let you jump in. I'm sorry, but I used an example not too long ago. Companies are doing it, and it frustrated me. I can't tell you how much it frustrated me. The other day, I had to use my auto club to get a tow, and for the life of me, I could not. It would not allow me to speak to a live agent. I was speaking to a bot. And when the bot couldn't understand what I was saying, it would send me, and it would tell me, it's like, okay, we're going to send you an SMS text message to confirm what you just said. Is this, in fact, the address that you want the vehicle picked up at? It's like, I just want to talk to someone. Like, well, that option's not available. And I draw that as the comparison. It's like, if customers hate it when it comes to interacting with the brands that they do business with, why wouldn't it be any different when it comes to consuming content?
Yeah, I want to add one thing onto that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this from the context of, like, I work exclusively with businesses for their podcast. So they have their brand reputation on the line, and they can't be lazy with it. They have to put in full effort, and they have to be polished. And so maybe there is a case if someone is doing podcasts as a hobby and they use more AI content than a business would. So it isn't black and white, but I think it is important to clarify, like, the perspective that I'm coming from.
Jay, thoughts?
Oh, I got plenty.
Okay, buckle up.
Yeah, well, Well, first off, let me apologize to Mike. So this is why sometimes it can be very controversial and to discuss some things like this. But I think because Mike, he's a great creator of these AI type songs, right? And I love it. It's his lyrics, right? Obviously, and it the music is great, the tone is great, right? But when you're listening to, let me put it in this context, right? If you're listening to a show that's talking about someone's experience, let's say someone's experience in World War II, right? It'd be great to hear it maybe in the voice of, Franklin D. Roosevelt, maybe one of the historic figures from, back in the day. Absolutely. That would be great and wonderful. But what if you really go to the person who experienced it, like my grandmother, my grandfather, who experienced World War II, they were actually there and who may be still alive today. To me, that the insights, the emotion, I think is where I'm going to hang my hat on. I don't want to listen to 2 hours of an AI bot or agent talking about an experience they have no clue about except through algorithms and human beings plugging in all the information so that they can discuss this. And my question was, do I want to listen to agents having conversations to spur conversations in human beings? So that's where I'm at. Now, in the format of maybe a webinar, in the format of education, Mike, great points. Good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. If it's to educate me, great. But you can't replace emotion, experience, insight from an actual human being with an algorithm. To me, I would. That's what I would prefer. Now, Mike, I mean, you could probably sit all day and listen to something like that. But for me personally, and for a lot of people, right? Maybe we're not there yet as a society. Maybe we're not there yet as a culture. We're close. I think we're close. I think a lot of people are there in a lot of ways. And one more thing, I'm an old Radiohead, so let me go back to what Keith was talking about earlier. And so my mind might change in the next year or two. I don't know. My feelings right now, though, you can feel it, you can hear it. It's like nails on a chalkboard, and maybe that's even an older, older euphemism. But Keith was saying, what about the replays? And so as a DJ, an old Radiohead, right, I would record myself and say, hey, coming up this next song from Drake, blah, 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 right? Be back in a minute. And I would play that in between. It wasn't me. It was a recording of me. But again, it was used as a tool. I didn't record an entire show and play it back, and with my feelings and intent. But that's to me, it's different. It's apples and oranges. We're using something artificial to replace something that should sound like it's got insight and experience. Yeah, Mike, you got me, man. I didn't want to piss you off, by the way. Just saying.
We have some great chatter going on. What about educational content? I think there's a place for it. And keep me honest, keep me humble. It could be two different areas that I'm trying to dive into. But from a learning perspective, and we look at the audiobook industry, there are voiceover artists who are probably struggling to find work because books can be dictated and narrated by artificial voices. So was the thought, hey, we can do the same thing with podcasts, and over time we're going to get better at having AI voices express feeling and emotion. And Keith asks the question, let me just catch up to the feed here. He asks the question, will there be a point where we won't be able to know the difference or tell the difference? That is scary. We're not there yet, because I think most of us, if not all of us, can pick out something that is AI generated. But OG Mike on YouTube is asking the question, what if I'm old and have a feeble voice? I want to use a younger, stronger voice. The person who's experienced writes the story. What about the AI to emote the story? I'm going to pause here for a second and collect both your thoughts, because I'm starting to see, maybe not a shift or a balance, but I'm starting to see both sides of the story. Is there a place for it? Possibly. Is it in the podcast? Probably not. In fact, I will advocate for it not having a place in this ecosystem. But I think we can all agree it has a place. It's just that it's not here on this stage or stages like this.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jay, you want to take it?
No, go ahead.
Okay. OG Mike, I love this question because it really got me thinking, like, okay, maybe this is an accessibility thing, why someone would be doing this. So, again, these are all just our opinions. Like, I'm sure that there is an audience out there who doesn't mind listening to AI voice things. I do think that there are people who are adamant that they will never listen to an AI voiced anything. So just go into it knowing that, like, even if you're not, most of my clients, they're not confident in their voice whenever they first start. Everyone hates the sound of their own voice. They're like, it's hard for them to get over that sometimes. But I think it's either something you have to embrace or just be honest about and say, hey, I'm actually using AI because of this reason.
Hey, but there's something to be said about the pause, the crackle of our voices. Mm-hmm. As much as we become our biggest critics, not liking our voice, it is our voice that draws the attention and piques the curiosity of those who are listening. It's where real emotion is found, right? Many of these episodes are edited to take out the pause, remove the crackle, try to make it sound crisp, when people have been saying time and time again, we crave authenticity. Authenticity builds trust and gains visibility. I don't, to the best of my ability, I will at most edit my shows to remove long pauses. But other than that, you're going to hear what I have to say, and you're going to hear what my guests and co-hosts have to say when they join the show in their authentic voice, without or with minimal editing, because I think there's just so much power behind that, and people crave that. You're having a conversation, so this isn't Hollywood, and we're not trying to produce a Hollywood-like show. Listen, it's I had questions queued up that we're not even jumping into, because I'm enjoying the conversation so much, and this happens all the time. People ask me, it's like, wow, can we talk for an hour? Trust me, we can talk for hours if we allowed ourselves to do so. I always have a series of questions in the event, but the event has never happened where we had dead air, nothing to talk about. So OG Mike goes on to add, I'm using AI, read YouTube revenge stories as a sleep aid. Crappy writing and bad AI readbacks. So yes, there is crappy AI readback. But what happens when I write better stories and AI gets better, especially about emoting? Listen, the day's going to come. We can now clone our own voices. We can, if you're paying for 11 Labs, you can record your voice, or other tools like 11 Labs. You can record your voice, and that AI voice is yours. It's no different than me taking this transcript after the show. This is our conversation. It's not something we made up. It's not something that AI made up, but AI is going to help me pick out the highlights and pick out the clips that will probably have the most value for me to repurpose. All right, now I'm going to draw and bring a question, but let both of you kind of chew on what OG Mike is sharing.
Jay, I
Okay.
like your comment. There's definitely an audience. There's an audience for a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, there's an audience. There's an audience for anything. Some of the stuff I can't even talk about. I mean, it's really it's crazy. But here's the thing. And boy, for a second, I was like, oh my God, I sound like the guy who only likes to listen to music over a record player. Holy crap. I'm only going to listen to music through an LP, right? Oh my God. But that's not what we're talking about, though. We're talking about, and it's a word that's been overplayed on LinkedIn and a lot of live events and podcasts, authenticity. I just call it being real, right? And so algorithms, right? Emotions, things like that, do they go hand in hand? At the moment, if you want to buy stuff, yeah, absolutely. That's all. you just go to the internet and you'll find it. Absolutely. Heck, even when you're not on the internet, sometimes that stuff will find you. But what we're talking about, at least I am, is the ability to connect with another human being. For me, that's why I listen to a podcast. Man, I've listened to a podcast that lasted 4 hours. Okay. My wife hates it, right? She goes, how do you listen to this crap for 4 hours? I said, well, it keeps me thinking. I'm driving on the road, right? I can't watch TV. Well, some people can, but that's dangerous. Don't do that. Just saying. But listening, it keeps my mind thinking and occupied. And so it helps me. And so I just think if I want to listen to something, I'm going to want to connect with someone, even if it's over streaming, right? If it's a podcast, because maybe they have insights and experiences that I don't know about and things that can help me understand how I can better apply it to my life as a human being. That's the beauty of podcasts. That's what started this whole thing in the first place. People were talking about their lives and experiences, and it was like, oh, hey, that's cool. Let me listen. Right. And so now, yes, there are podcasts that exist that are AI generated that are just books. That AI reading books. And so that's okay. If that's what you like, then that's fine. That's perfect. But when you have two bots talking about human experiences, right? That's gonna at the moment it's messing with my mind. Like, what? No, No, you can't. You don't have any experiences. Shut up. Right.
All right. Is this an opportunity to play another or continue that clip? Because you're absolutely right. Just a few seconds
drawing
here.
a line in the sand. We want to get to the hard numbers on what people crave.
And this is more than just a tech curiosity, right? It's a fundamental clash. It's really, it's two opposing business models.
How do you mean?
Well, on one side, you have the promise of unlimited scale, efficiency, all delivered by AI audio. I mean, content that never sleeps, never gets sick.
The machine model.
The machine.
The machine model, and that brings up. Let's jump into Spencer's question. How do you spot the bias in both AI and human, especially when it comes to vulnerabilities? Can it be done? And if so, can it be done effectively? Who wants to jump in?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you take that.
Madison, you got to come on in. Come on, jump in.
I mean, I don't know.
The water is warm. Jump on in.
So here, okay. At the moment, right? I'm in this thing. This is my jam, right? I said I was an old school radio head from the beginning, so this has been my jam for a minute. So I can spot it, but the average listener, right? Joe Public, it's not. They're not attuned like I'm attuned. So like I said, people, there's an audience for everything, and people will enjoy it if it brings them exactly what they're looking for. Information, maybe it does bring emotion, right? Especially if they're reading a book about human things. and I'm gonna stand on that soapbox for a minute, because I think that's what I want to listen to, and that's what a lot of people have turned to when they're listening to podcasts for the most part. But there are podcasts out there that do exist that are AI generated, and it's not I mean, I don't know what the numbers are, but I know that it's growing, just like those YouTube things, out there that are all AI generated. Oh my God, if I see another Sora thing, I'm just gonna puke. Seriously, like, cuddly bears and all that stuff, and big brown bears hugging human beings and shaking hands. Okay, but it's and it just drives me crazy, because it's now it's in my feed. It's in the algorithm because I clicked on it once, and now it's coming every day. Every day I see this stuff. Michael Jackson and everybody else, right, who's passed away, saying stuff, and I'm like, God, leave me alone. I just let me go watch. Now I would prefer to watch cats playing piano again. Real cats, by the way, just saying. Anyway, I digress. It's the human connection. It goes beyond authenticity. It's hey, I relate to that guy because he's from a Pacific island. Hey, I like that guy because I've never been to New York, but he's telling a story about New York. I'm going to go there someday. These are the things that I think draws people into conversations between two people, three people, a whole gaggle of people. That's what I think people want. It could change. People could love Sora tomorrow. Who knows, right? But society is fickle and culture is fickle, and it can change in a heartbeat. And tomorrow I can start being like these kids in America saying 6'7". But but I think if you want that authenticity, you want to build a community, it can't start from AI. Even AI has to be started through a prompt from you. So you know. But what do I know? I'm just a human being. I'm not AI. Yeah.
Well, it is no secret. I think it's safe for me to say here with extreme confidence that the three of us are advocates of human-led conversations. Yet, Keith has shared that by the end of 2025, 150,000 startups like Inception Point AI are using small teams to generate thousands of episodes per week of this AI slop, aiming to flood the market with content at a minimal cost. Now, here's my thought towards that. People will try to infuse this in large numbers and large quantity. And as long as it remains slop, people are just going to scroll through it just like they do with written content. 1.7 seconds is the average scroll time that piece of written content has. Where when you compare this to live events, podcasts, human recordings of people, real people having real conversations, although the average listen time might be anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes, depending on what platform you're doing your research on, it's still more than 1.7 seconds. And I believe that those who are investing in AI to mass produce and distribute AI generated events like these will fall into that slop category and will just be forgotten. So I think, and I say this once again with confidence, I think we're in a good place because there's still and will continue to be people who want to converse with humans and hear voices like ours. Regardless of whether we like our voices or not, there's an appetite, and there will continue to be an appetite for this type of content. Madison, I hope you signed up for what you thought you were signing up for.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, I have so many thoughts here. I mean, Inception Point was the company that was putting out the podcast that I was seeing doing my research. And I listened to a couple of them, and they start with ads, they have ads in the middle, and they end with ads. More than half of the podcast was ads. So it's clear that they're doing this to make money, and they can do it in mass production. I think they put out like 3,000 episodes a week, and they're not listening to the podcast before they put them out. I mean, the CEO has said that. So to answer Keith's question in the chat, why do you listen to podcasts? Personally, I'm listening because the host has some kind of expertise that I'm looking to learn. And if I can't trust that the content has been vetted, how do I know that it's legitimate? That's why I'm not listening to AI podcasts.
Well, that is a great response. But not all AI generated content, and we'll use Michael as a great example. Michael is a big advocate of AI and the use of it. Michael generates fantastic pieces of musical art, poetry using AI, and AI will turn it into song, but it is his authentic lyric. Those are his lyrics. Those are his written poems that he uses. And here's the difference. He uses AI as the tool. Behind that tool, it's still him. And I agree with you, Mike. You're not putting out AI slop. So let the record show that Mike does not put out AI slop.
I agree. Again, Mike, not trying to piss you off. Seriously, Mike. But he's really getting into my head. Let me tell you. Like I said, I was just sitting here for a moment, and I was like, I sound like the guy who listened to records only because it's authentic and real. And I'm like, oh crap. But it's the human connection. And that's what it boils down to for me. listening to people have real conversations.
All
And
right. So Spencer's asking, if you're talking about empathy, how does vulnerable person know you're a real person behind podcasting and not just a deep learning machine speaking without emotion?
that's the thing. But I'm going to go back to the thing I said earlier. There's always going to be an audience. There are people out there who are subscribing to a service that says, hey, you can have a relationship with an AI bot. Okay. Okay. And maybe a person who's alone, who has to, I guess, be on a yacht in the middle of the ocean by themselves, who can't stand being around other people. Maybe that helps, right? If there's some sort of thing that they can't really have conversations with large groups of people, maybe there's some social issues, some mental issues, things like that. Those AI could help with those types of things with algorithms, but I think for the majority,
Did we lose Jay?
Uh-oh.
there are people looking for connection, looking for the ability to be a part of something, humanity, right? Social connection. And we're years from where we used to be, but I'm going to point to COVID. When people got shut down from being in meeting people, they went digital. They didn't go all the way digital to AI because it wasn't a thing then, but they went digital to search for real people to have conversations with. And that's why LinkedIn audio events grew in popularity. I mean, a whole company exists right now, Zoom, because that connection, right? And I'll give you a little bit more history. Skype was dead, but Zoom now exists. What happened? Right? That happened. The blockage, people trying to have that connection. I mean, there was a whole movement behind it, right? People were bucking the system and going out without wearing masks because of that. And so if we just look at human behavior, it's that wanting, that yearning to have stories to connect each other to. That's what we were looking for. A lot of us. So.
All right. So here's a loaded question. We've heard and felt the passion coming across the mics. We're seeing similar questions, passion, emotions coming across the comments. Now, here's a question for both of you. Do you see a hybrid model emerging where we can get along with AI and AI supports us but doesn't replace us? And what might that look like?
Oh gosh. I have even suggested to someone before that they use AI whenever they're planning out their episodes to bounce questions off of, to anticipate how a conversation could go. So that's maybe one way that AI could support a human host but not replace them. But I know I've said this a couple times, but I really can't see AI voice being a successful podcast.
All right, Jay, you're putting together an app that is going to allow users to pair up with your book. And I'm pretty sure, keep me honest, keep me humble here, that there'll be some form and degree of AI that'll bring storytelling and AI and technology, bring all of that together through your app. So I'm already thinking ahead, and maybe I'm completely wrong. And
No, you're
me that I
absolutely
am.
correct.
So
And yeah, absolutely right. I am. Okay, so this may sound hypocritical, but I am using AI. I use AI every day, right? And but I use it as a tool, and that's what it is. I'm not. So I'm gonna give you my business model here, so you know what's happening is I'm creating this AI application that's going to allow people to become better at telling their story using my book and AI together. Absolutely. But here's the business model. If they want to connect to the author of that book and get coaching, I'm not going to palm them off on my AI bot. I'm going to say, hey, for a session with me, it's going to cost you blah, blah, blah. And I'll help coach you to tell your story. So this is what I'm talking about. You know, maybe there is going to be this ability to have a hybrid type podcast with AI, right? Maybe I give a prompt to an AI bot, don't steal my ideas, that's going to produce the entire show. Don't go out there. This is my patent. I'm putting it out there right now. It's an intellectual property. Just saying. I'm kidding, but really, I mean that's what I envision AI becoming. The ability to, with a thought, with a prompt, be able to help produce your show. Right. I'm not trying to put you out of business, Madison. That's not what I'm saying. But you could use.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Right. I'm using AI as a tool to help you do your business. That's all, right? We're saying AI, but if we go back to what it is, it's artificial intelligence. The A doesn't stand for authentic. Just saying, it's artificial. We have to keep prompting it. We have to keep putting information in. We have to keep saying, this is what I want. I'm going to give you some information. Go ahead and extrapolate that and give me something that I can use in society. Right. If you want me to go deep, man, I'm going to go deep. If you want me to go psychological, I'll go psychological. When you're dealing with somebody who's longing, like we did when we were stuck in COVID town, right? Wanting to reach out, they're going to look for something that's authentic. That's just human nature. But if that's not possible, they're going to go to the next best thing. And AI is there. So is it wrong? I think that's up to the philosophers to decide. And culture and society in general to decide. But at the end of the day, I'm a human being and I want a human connection. That's what it's as simple as that. Human beings just want to connect to other human beings. You know, maybe, if we're doing interstellar travel and you're the only one who's able to pilot a ship, okay, maybe that's where it needs to be, right? Or maybe just right around the corner, we have an application that is going to help us do podcasts and have multiple shows, maybe at the same time, right? Who knows? But it boils down to that human aspect all the time.
Here's a wonderful comment from Leslie. I love asking AI questions about my area of expertise and watching it miss so much. that is so true. We've become so accustomed to relying on our prompts to be gospel when it spits out a response. And sometimes it misses stuff, and sometimes it gives us the wrong information. And we're quick to point that out. And that's why I stand behind the importance and the value and the virtues of having real conversations.
I think Spencer asked a great question about what was it? Oh, do you think there could be an AI crash too? I do think so. I think there are a whole lot of people who are overwhelmed and tired and burnout of using AI and it being wrong, like Leslie said. I've gotten to that point in some things where it's just easier. I thought it would be easier to use AI for things, and realized, okay, I'm actually having to correct it so much that it's just better if I do it myself. So I think there's a whole group of people who are experiencing that too. And I do think eventually there could be an AI crash. I mean, I think there are people who will always use AI now that we have it, but maybe not as prevalent as it is.
Oh man, let me tell you. So we've all heard the word or the term hallucinations when it comes to AI. Oh my gosh. I asked ChatGPT. I asked it to do some research for me on some companies, potential competitors. And look at this. It gave me this one company, and I was like, I don't recognize this company. But it had a CEO, it had the number of customers, it had years in business. I was like, gosh, but I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet. I was like, what? So I learned one important prompt from this. And the prompt was a simple question. Did you make this up? Guess what it said? In a nutshell, uh-huh. I was like, are you kidding me? Thank God I didn't use that research to go before some clients. Right? So I went old school. I did the research myself. I was like, you do. But had I relied on that and not realized that that was a hallucination, oh my gosh. So imagine if there's a podcast going and they're talking about, hey, something that's going to require some human beings to think about life and limb. And they decided to hallucinate and say, oh, you know what? Why don't you do this, this, and this? And it's all criminal. No, thank you.
Yeah, just because it's written or just because it's said doesn't mean that it's true.
Yeah. And Mike, you're right. Perplexity. I've been, man. See, look, it's going to sound like I'm a hypocrite, but I use AI all the time. But it's a tool. So Perplexity is great. I use Comet along with it. Right there, it's going to help you do what you need to do. Absolutely. I don't disagree with that. And when it comes to webinars or educational purposes, I think it's great. Yeah. And so these are the things, but absolutely, Mike, you're making me think, right? And I keep going back to the dude who likes records over music on the internet. Thanks, Mike.
So just to clarify, when I read Leslie's comments, she's not sure that it's wrong as much as it is just missing information. I've heard examples of both. But yes, predominantly it's missing more information than it is regurgitating wrong information. So thanks for clarifying that. All right, we are past the hour. Are you good for time? Can we wrap things up and get a couple more minutes of your valuable time, Madison?
Oh, yeah.
All right, fantastic. This is a great conversation. Thank you, everyone who is engaging in being part of it. I really enjoy this. If you feel that there's value here that others need to be part of, please don't hesitate to share this with someone else. We always welcome the opportunity to get our messages in front of other members that would appreciate this. So thanks for those who have been commenting. If you think this would be well received by someone else, give it a share. The replays are available on demand, but if you want a copy of yourself or your own archives, don't forget to share, save. And now let's take this home. As we wrap things up, this has been, as I mentioned, a fantastic conversation. But now I want to ask Madison, for creators and brands watching this today, what's the one actionable step that we can take to help their content remain authentic in an AI-driven world? I know what my response is going to be, but I'd love to hear what both of your responses will be.
What step they can take to stay authentic?
Yes.
I would say it starts with a conversation with yourself, because it's so easy to rely on other things, whether that's AI or other people these days. So not even talking about AI, but just to stay authentic holistically, I would say you have to have a conversation with yourself and start from there and plan out your content yourself, and then use AI to support you, but not as the thinker and the doer.
Excellent. Jay?
So I'm going to say something that may sound counterintuitive to everything I've talked about this evening, but I think there's this lady now. She calls herself the Queen of AI or something like that. She's having a summit right now. One of the things she said, and I thought, man, that's brilliant. She said she was going on a podcast, and one of the things she wanted to do was take the spirit of the podcaster and put it into AI and have it ask her potential questions before going on the podcast. And I thought that was brilliant, right? So here's some of the things that you can do to help you, even maybe help you with your form, with your style, with how better to improve the questions that you ask, right? These are things I think that are going to be able to help you and us in the future using AI. I think that's great. Those are the things I think you can do, actionable steps, things that you can do right now. Create these prompts and GPTs, if you wanted to, an entire GPT based on a podcaster's personality that will help you answer questions better or ask questions better, whichever. But I think that right there is gold. And I may be stepping off my soapbox regarding AI. It sounds like that's not the case. I've always said AI is a great tool. I think it's something that's going to help all industries, right? Become better efficient, become better at doing the things that that we're currently doing, even the most menial tasks. I think that's great. And I think that's where I'm going to end, right? So.
All right. So we have a special request. Michael asked to join us on stage, and we're going to let him on stage. Give me a second here. Let me sit him back in the green room. Let me cue this up. Michael, welcome to the stage. Thanks for participating. And the mic is yours.
Thank you. Just for clarity, I wanted to state that I was not talking about autonomous AI podcasting. Meaning, that two AI talking heads are talking to each other. I am considering doing a DJ type show with my voice, but AI using, reading whatever my script is. Considering that. But I'm already using AI like ridiculously every day for ideation, and it's allowing me to do things either through search like Perplexity I couldn't do before, or like with Suno that I couldn't do before. I used to sing vocals, but I am not a musician. I don't play an instrument. So this allows me to add, music tracks. There are actually well-known musicians that are actually using it to ideate, it being Suno, and then pulling that idea back down, adding tracks to it, or just basically using it to edit whatever they're creating, and then they. So I guess what I'm saying is I just view it as a tool. I don't think I kind of vigorously agreeing with Jay that we want human connection, but how that happens moving forward is going to be interesting. I did want to point out, Americo, unless I'm wrong, this backdrop was created by AI, right?
The studio scene was created by AI.
So
yes.
You are already using AI in your podcast
as a tool, absolutely.
As a tool. No, that's kind of my point, though, right? But as things, like auto tune is a thing. In music, we had synthesizer, and that was a huge brouhaha at first. Then we had drum machines, 808s. We had MIDI. It goes on and on. We had looping. I've actually seen a one-woman show where she loops. She plays all of the instruments, but she loops in the show. And she's actually playing basically a band by herself. So there's some really cool tools, to your point. And that was kind of my point is, that I'm viewing AI as a tool. I'm not seeing it as like I said, two talking AI, autonomous AIs talking to each other. That wasn't what I was talking about. So thank you.
And Lynn agrees with you. You do it well, Mike. She loves your work.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I was not pissed off either. I'm just making the point that that's allowing them to do things I just couldn't do before, and I think that's true of a lot. Now, I spend a lot of time on the lyrics. I spend a lot of time on the poetry that I wrote that I turned into songs, which there's, I don't know, it's probably about 20 or 30 of those. But now I'm writing. I'm using AI to help me not write the lyrics, but step me through the process of storytelling as I write the song. So, Jay, I've already have a storytelling space and Perplexity to help me write the songs.
Oh, you're going to throw it away once I get mine up. Just kidding.
As soon as if it's better than mine, I'll use it, man. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for letting me jump on stage.
Right on. Always a pleasure. The question was asked, what restreaming studio am I using? I am multi-streaming with Restream. Okay, Madison, this has been a fantastic conversation. I want you to take a moment and own the stage and let everyone know who you are, who you serve, and how people can connect with you.
Oh, sure. Well, first, let me just say thank you for inviting me to your live stream. I've really enjoyed this. And oh, you just put it up there. Okay, yeah. Owner and podcast producer at Speakeasy Productions. And I help business owners use podcasting to connect with their audience, create content, and ultimately turn listeners into clients of their business so they can make money. So, with that, um, I'm most active on LinkedIn and would love to connect with anyone here today and continue the conversation or just talk about anything podcasting related at all.
Fantastic. Jay, how's that app coming along? Are we still on pace for the new year?
Yes, absolutely. We're still on pace for the new year. You know, you're going to look for it on my website. So ruleyourstory.com, www.ruleyourstory.com. That's where you'll find it. It's not there now, so don't go looking for it, but my book is there. You can actually click on that. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm there a lot. So if you want to send me a message there, I'll respond. I want to help people tell their story and have people connect, like the connection I've been talking about this whole program. And in such a human way that people are going to want to listen. And that's really what it boils down to. And if you really think about it, all our communications, every way that we communicate with someone, we're telling a story. Whether it be in business, whether it be in the grocery store, whether it be on a podcast, we're sharing stories, right? I can help you put it in a way though, where if it's gonna help your brand. It's gonna be about content. It's how you engage with your audience or just your employees. So hit me up. I'd be glad to help you.
Fantastic. And it sounds like there's a lot of synergy here. We want to help others with their narrative, with their visibility. And I support through live streaming and event marketing. I help experts go live across LinkedIn and beyond and turn your visibility into clients. It has been an absolute pleasure. We're going to close this off. Although it's anecdotal, we're going to close this off with the AI generated conversation that we've been playing clips throughout the show. I want to take a moment to thank everyone who made it in the comments. If we missed your comments, rest assured I'm going to make sure that we engage and answer anything that hasn't been addressed. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you everyone for being present. And I look forward to seeing you back again. Bye for now.
Model. And on the other, you have the deep, messy, and let's be honest, often irrational human demand for connection.
Okay.
And the sources show that connection is absolutely central to successful audio. So we're going to see which side is winning the loyalty battle.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We're seeing platforms